Our next speaker, Keith Abraham, believes when you have clarity about the type of business you want and why you're in this profession, then success and achievement are possible. Today, Keith will talk about how to remove the roadblocks of success so you can achieve your goals. Please welcome Keith Abraham.
You know, there are many things that will catch your eye, but only a few things will truly catch your heart. They're the things that you need to pursue with a passion. They're the things that you need to take with you. So the question I've got with you to start today off is, what are you passionate about? What gives you that energy to achieve the goals, to be in this room? You see, my rock-solid belief is this, is that nothing happens until somebody becomes passionate about something. MDRT is the recognition, the confirmation of people who have a passion to pursue their dreams, to make things happen. You know, it was a sunny day when a father took his two daughters to an amusement park that started a dream, that took us all on a journey, that helped 630 million people to a happy place. Of course, that story is the one of Walt Disney. Give me a hands up if you've been to Disneyland. Anybody like that? Wow. Walt decided to create an amusement park and bought 175 acres. Then he went out finding the funding to build his Disneyland. He went to the first bank and they said no. He went to the second bank and they said no also. He went to the third and the fourth and the fifth and they all said no. They all thought he was a bit crazy. I don't know how the conversation went, but I think it was probably like this. The finance company would have said, so let me understand what you're trying to say here, Mr. Disney. You want to go an hour and a half out of Los Angeles to Orange Grove County with an income-producing orange trees, put a bulldozer through them and build an amusement park that you hope people will turn up to. That's correct. You're crazy. 462 finance companies said no. The 463rd said, we're just as crazy as you. And that started the next phase of the dream of creating Disneyland. In 1955, 18th of July 1955, Disneyland was opened. Now, they had challenges. It was the hottest day in California history for about 150 years. And they expected 15,000 people to turn up that day. And 25,000 people turned up. The next day they thought 25,000 people were going to turn up. And 50,000 people turned up. In the first year they thought 1 million people would come through the turnstiles. And in the first 90 days, 1 million people came through the turnstiles. And Walt thought to himself, maybe I'm onto something here. With that, he was already landlocked and decided to go to Orlando, Florida, and bought 30,000 acres, all in different company names to avoid the price being escalated. On the 15th of December 1966, Walt Disney passed away. A very, very sad day, but the show must go on. On the 1st of October 1971, on the opening day, Roy Disney, his brother, was asked to walk all the media through before the guests came through. And as he walked the media through and said, this was Walt's vision to achieve this and this and this, one of the journalists said to him, isn't it a shame Walt never saw the place open? And Roy fired back in a flash and said, the reason why you and I see it today is because he saw it first. He saw it here. What's your vision for this business? What I know for a fact about this business is that you need to have a vision. See, most people spend most of their life earning a living. True? We get up, we go to work, we serve our customers, handle the challenges, look after the chaos, go home and do it all over again the next day. Rarely do people ever stop and design the business of their dreams, design the life they want to lead. Of the last 17 years of working inside of financial planning and financial advice practices, one of the things that I've noticed a lot is that most people, most advisors operate on 3 levels. The first is that they're in survival mode. They get in this industry and they survive for the first couple of years. The second is that they become successful. In other words, they're good at what they do. And the third is that they're truly significant at what they do. They join organisations like MDRT because they know that with the support of the people in this room, they can achieve anything. It's about going to that next level. So this afternoon, what I'd like to do is talk to you about 3 C's. I want to talk to you about clarity of direction. The second C I want to talk to you about is about creating that best year yet. And the third is I want to talk about becoming the living example, the person you need to become to achieve the goals that you need to achieve. Now, the hardest thing you're going to have to do this afternoon is write a couple of things down and maybe talk to the person you're sitting alongside. So if you're sitting alongside somebody that you don't like, now's a good time to move. Everyone okay? We're not moving, that's good. So let's talk a little bit about it. When the whys become clear, the hows become easy. For the last 16 years as a professional presenter, I've predominantly talked to people about how. This is how you gain referrals. This is how you set goals. This is how you close the sale. This is how you give a world-class service experience. But you know what I've recognised over that time? Is that actually people don't care about how until they know why. Until they're clear on what's passionate in their life, until they know what this formula stands for, until they have a big enough reason why, they will never do the uncomfortable or the inconvenient. So what's this model all about? Really simple. It's about finding out what's meaningful for you. What's meaningful in your life? Regina just gave a wonderful presentation about what was meaningful for her. What's meaningful for you? What's important to you? The second is about setting the milestones. It's about those steps along the way. The third is about having the right mindset. And Sol spoke about that so eloquently. It's about having this bit of real estate here, these 5 inches heading in the right direction. And then the final piece, it's about momentum. Today, this will be motivational to be in this room with so many people. But at the end of the day, you will go back to your workplace and it will be you. You need to create momentum in your career. You know, let me position the difference between motivation and momentum. If you want to stop a train from moving, if that train is there, it won't move. But if that train's travelling at 60 kilometres an hour, 15 foot of reinforced concrete won't stop it. What's the difference? One's got momentum, not motivation. You need to have momentum in your business. You need to apply the ideas that you leave here with and to make things happen for you. Now, let's talk a little bit about what's meaningful. And if it's okay, I want to do a bit of an activity with you. One of the things that I've been fortunate enough, and just to position this, can I get a hands up if anybody here was academically challenged going through school? Is that just me? Anybody like that? A few people. I was academically challenged going through school, and hence I wasn't that motivated to get a job, and my mum had to get me my first job. I don't know if anybody can relate to that. My mum worked in local government. She had a lot of push in the council that she worked in. She was the tea lady there. And she got me a job working in the council. But I was unmotivated and lazy and probably just plain bored. My boss came to me one day, a guy called Len Anderson. He said, listen, Keith, we'd like you to go on a week-long leadership program. And I thought, he's got rocks in his head. I'm not leadership material. And then he said the magic words, you get a week off work. And I thought, you know what? Maybe I am a leader. Maybe I'm a leader and I don't know it. And I went along to this week-long leadership program, and during the course of the program I talked about self-confidence and self-esteem and public speaking, and at the end of this program they said, here's what we'd like you to do. We'd like you to grab a clipboard and a pen and go and find a shady tree and write out your life to-do list. We want you to write 100 dreams that you'd like to achieve in your lifetime. Now, people often say to me, Keith, is this a bucket list? And my response is simple, no. A bucket list is when a doctor says to you, you've got 6 months. Go and say sorry to have to say sorry to. Go and send flowers, those ones you seek forgiveness from. Do everything you possibly can before you pass on. This is a life to-do list. And if it's okay, I'd like to start this with you today. So if you have pen and paper, this is a little bit of audience participation. What do you want to achieve? This vehicle that you are involved in the insurance industry, in the financial advice industry, is a wonderful vehicle to help you achieve all your dreams and aspirations. But you need to have that reason why. And if you think of it, these are the areas you want to start to think about. Now, your goal today is simply this, is that you need to write down what you'd like to do in your lifetime. Now, when I sat underneath that tree, I started my life to-do list and I wrote down 6 things. They gave us 90 minutes to write down 100, but I only got to 6. And the 7th thing I wrote down was finish this list. That was all I had. And it took me 6 weeks to do it. And I sat down and I started this life to-do list, and I've added things to that. And in the last 25 years since doing that, I've completed it 5 times. There are still things on my current list that were still there from that day, and there's things that I never thought I'd achieve. But you need to start to dream. As adults, we lose that ability to dream. I'm not sure if it becomes uncool or what it might be. You need to think about what you desire to achieve. You need to think about the destinations you'd like to visit, the things you'd like to do as an individual, the deeds you'd like to do for others. You need to think a little bit about what you want to dabble in, the dollars you'd like to earn, the things you want to do, and difference you want to make every single day. So here are the questions. And you need to write down at least 7 to get past the ex-council worker. But what is your life to-do list? What do you desire to achieve in your lifetime, in this career, in this industry? What do you desire to achieve? What are the destinations you want to do? Easy, write down 6 countries you'd like to visit. What type of person do I want to become? What type of person do you want to become? What deeds do you want to do for others? What do you want to do for your family, to achieve for your family? And what are those hobbies you want to dabble in? I fell in love a couple of years ago with photography, and there's never a trip that I go on now that I don't take my camera with me. Do I want to become a professional photographer? No, but it's something that I'm interested in enough to take seriously. What are your dollar goals from this business? What do you want to achieve in the next 12 months? And we'll talk about that in a moment. And the last one is, what do you want to do with your time on a daily basis? Isn't it important to have a dream, to have a reason why, to start with the why? And then you'll find the how. You see, what we know is that there are 8 key areas to set your goals in. For the next 12 months, what do you want to achieve in your career? Do you want to be in India next year at MDRT event there? Do you want to be actually in Anaheim later this year for the MDRT event in the USA? What are your financial goals? What are the giving goals? You want to give back to others. What do you want to do for your family? What do you want to achieve for yourself as a lifestyle? What are your health and fitness goals that you want to achieve? And more importantly, what are you doing for your own personal growth? I think it's fantastic that you're in this room. And finally, what are some of the adventurous things you want to do in the next 12 months? Now, your idea of adventure might be going hang gliding or parachuting. That might be your idea of adventure. Your idea of adventure might be sitting on a white sandy beach thinking we'll have a pina colada or a margarita this afternoon. And you say, I'm going to live dangerously, bring them both over in a bucket. Your idea of adventure might be going to Spain and running with the bulls with somebody slower than you. That might be your idea of adventure. So what's your goals that you want to achieve in 2012 and beyond? And then the real key is remaining focused on those goals. Your real key is to write those goals down. See, the process is simple. It's easy to set goals. What's the hardest thing? To remain focused on them. There are so many distractions. Something to help you remain focused. So we talked a little bit about clarity, clarifying what's important. Let's talk about creating the best year yet in your business. From my experience working with financial advisors over the last 16 years, one of the things that we found is these are the desires of all insurance advisors. They want to enhance the value of what they contribute to the business. They want to increase their revenue or profits if they own their own business, their revenue or income if they work for somebody. They want to obviously love what they do. And the second is they want to improve their lifestyle. They want to reap the rewards that this industry has to offer. So I believe there are about 8 areas that you need to think a little bit about. The first is that if you're going to have your best year ever, no need to write this down, but write down the numbers. If you're going to have your best year ever, how much money do you earn? What's your income? If you're going to have your best year ever, what are the rewards and recognitions that you have achieved? If you're going to have your best year ever, how many new clients have come to you? If you're going to have your best year ever, how many people have been referred to you, as Sol was talking about? How many referrals come to you? If you're going to have your best year ever, how many days do you work? If you're going to have your best year ever, how many hours do you work every week? You see, it's not about how much or how many, it's about how productive you are. If you're going to have your best year ever, what's your average sale or average commission check? And how do you increase that? If you're going to have your best year ever, what market space are you working in? Are you working in mums and dads? Are you working with professionals? Are you working with self-employed people? Are you working with CEOs? See, these are the questions. When I work with individuals and they don't achieve the goals they want to achieve, then it always comes back to they're not clear on what the purpose is. They're not clear on what it is that they want to achieve. They're not clear on what the business of their dreams look like, and they're not clear on these 8 questions. Do those questions make sense? Is that a yes or a yes? And then we say, in my business, what am I doing to be focused on the right direction? Secondly, what am I doing to make sure that I'm effective, that I'm not just turning up and going through the motions? What am I doing that helps me become effective in what I do? That helps me become efficient in what I do? What am I doing to create the marketing, to get my profile out to get into the market space I want to get into? And what am I doing to create an experience? What am I doing to create the experience that is so good that people want to refer me? It was interesting, I was in Adelaide in Australia and I was talking with some financial advisors. And we were talking about gaining referrals, and they asked the question, why don't we get more referrals? And the comment I made was that you're not good enough. And I wasn't being hard and I wasn't being nasty, but I use this analogy. If you're great at what you do, people will tell other people. If you go to a great restaurant, how many people do you tell? If you watch a great movie, how many people do you tell? If you have a great experience, how many people do you tell? How many people do you tell to create that great experience? So here's what I'd like you to think about doing as part of this process. What do you need to do to create an experience that is beyond? So, remember I talked about your list of 100 things that you'd like to achieve. I'd like you to take a moment and think about what it is that you'd like to achieve this year. Go back to those questions and answer those questions for me. Let's go through them one more time with you. Let me go back one more. How much money do you want to earn this year? Write that down for me, please. What rewards and recognition would you like to re-qualify for MDRT in the next 12 months? How many clients? Write the exact number down. What are the number of referrals that you want to come into your business in the next 12 months? What are those exact numbers? How many days off do you want to have per annum? How many holidays do you want to have, or trips that you might want to receive? How many days, the hours you want to work each week, and the average sale or average commission, and of course the marketplace. If you have clarity of purpose around these areas, you can achieve anything. You can do anything. So, really quickly, this is where a little bit of audience participation comes in. I know you've been sitting there for a while and you've listened to some wonderful speakers so far. Here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to turn to the person either that way or that way. And I'd like you to share with them what's one thing you'd like to achieve in the next 12 months. Will you do that for me for just a moment? You've got 30 seconds. Really quickly do that. One thing you'd like to achieve in the next 12 months. See, as you talk about it, you get committed. Thank you. "15 seconds gone. And your time is up. Thank your partner in the most appropriate way. A pat on the back, a handshake, a hug if you know them really well. The final piece of the puzzle. So we've talked about clarification of direction. We've talked about creating the best year yet. And now we're going to talk about the confidence you need to achieve it all. Here's my other rock-solid belief, is that we have to become the living example, the person we need to become before we actually get there. You have to grow there mentally before you go there physically. Does that make sense? You have to develop your confidence, your self-esteem. When I work with people, people have 4 questions that stop them from achieving. Here's the first one. Am I worthy? Am I worthy of this success? Am I deserving of this recognition? Am I capable? Do I have the skills, the knowledge to be able to achieve all the things that our wonderful speakers have spoken about? And is it possible? Is it possible for me? I know it's possible for those people, but is it possible for me? Is it possible for me to have that success? You have to answer yes, 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 and yes. My answer doesn't count. Your sales manager's answer doesn't count. You have to answer in your heart of hearts, yes. So how do you develop that confidence to achieve the goals that you want to achieve? I believe you have to evolve. We talk so often about change. And what's our greatest fear around change? Well, A, change itself. You mean I've got to do something different? B, the fear of failure. And C, the fear of success. The fear of failure is, what if I try and I don't get there? The fear of success, what if I do try and I get there and people have a higher expectation of me? So how do you evolve? Simple, you need to use your imagination, just like Walt Disney used his imagination to create what he wanted to create in Disneyland. You have to use your imagination. The second is that you need to identify where you're at today. I'm here today. How do I get to there? The third is that you need to improve. You need to make those small 1% improvements. I've been fortunate over the last 9 years to have worked with Toyota in Australia, New Zealand and in Japan. And over that period of time I've got to know the Toyota way intimately. And part of the Toyota way is the whole concept around Kaizen, continuous improvement. And I like to explain it as the concept of implementing 1% ideas. And it wasn't until I went to a factory in Nagoya that I understood the total concept of Kaizen. Picture this, we're in a factory in beautiful downtown Nagoya, which is called Toyota City. And they were making brand new Toyota Land Cruisers. Now I don't know if you've ever been to a Toyota factory or been to any manufacturing plant, but at this end of the factory starts out a shell of a car. And as it goes through the production line, they work in teams of 6 to 8 people, and everybody has 90 seconds to put on a part before it shuffles along to the next workstation. And of course we're on this overhead bridge watching this happen, and if you can picture this, a Toyota Land Cruiser, and it starts out as just this white metal, and as it goes along the wheels go on, the undercarriage, the motor, the doors, the seats and the carpet and the hood liner and the windows and the lights, and off drives a brand new Toyota Land Cruiser. And every now and again, as we were following this car along the production line, every now and again somebody would go and write something up in Japanese on a whiteboard. And of course curiosity got the better of me. And at Kenji-san, our guide, I asked him the question, what's that guy doing writing on the whiteboard? And he said, oh, he's writing down an idea for improvement. And I said, geez, that's impressive. We've seen it happen, I don't know, probably 8 or 9 times, and we've only been here for about 45 minutes. I said, how many ideas do you get in the course of a year? And they said, we get over 900,000 ideas a year. From 60,000 employees worldwide. If you do the math on that, it's just over, an idea a month. 15 ideas a year. And I said, okay. Now I can be skeptical, and I said, okay, how many ideas get actually implemented? So it's really easy to write down an idea, but actually how many of them get implemented? And he said, 97% of them get implemented. I said, how can you implement so many different ideas? He said, simple, they're 1%ers. They're 1% ideas. They're those little things that make a difference. It's the person who comes they created the idea, if it's a wet day in Nagoya and they start working around that car and their feet aren't clean, it scratches the paintwork. It's the person that came up with the idea of putting a little bit of cloth around everybody's belt so if they lean over a car it doesn't scratch it. It's the person who gave the idea in Toyota in Melbourne, who said, why don't we turn the lights off in that factory over there? And people said, why? Well, that's where all the robots are. They don't need lights. It's those little ideas. Ever since that day, I've been sharing with planners and advisors this whole concept of making small incremental improvements. Rather than saying, how do I go from here to there in a single bound? No, how do I just improve that much? And then how do I improve that much? And how do I improve that much? It's about taking what you learn here at MDRT and saying, what are those little ideas I need to implement in my business and in my life? The next piece of the puzzle there is innovation. And you'll hear later on this MDRT experience about innovation. But my take on innovation, it's about doing things differently. It's about being better, doing better, having better, achieving better results. And it's about implementation. Good ideas doesn't get the job done. It's about implementation of those ideas. It's about the insights that you gain from people you connect with at this event. It's those little ideas that people give you around the coffee machine or around the hallways. It's about insulating yourself from the negatives. You know, you can turn on the TV and there is death, doom, destruction and disaster around the world. Sometimes they're just the commercials. But it's about what you do, what you change, what you evolve. It's about insulating yourself from negative people. There's always somebody that will tell you can't be done. And here's my take. How do you know when you're hanging around negative people? Simple. You feel a lot better after you've left them. After those people are not in your space so much. And the final one is about investment. If you want to achieve the business of your dreams, the best year yet, you have to invest. I love the quote, if you don't invest time, energy and money in yourself, you're a poor judge of a good investment. If you don't invest the money in yourself, then why would anybody else? See, your clients know when you grow. Your clients know when you change and evolve and become better, and they're appreciative of that. So how do you do all this? Well, you have to ask yourself some questions. When I sit down with people, I often ask them these questions. What do you need to stop doing? In your business, in your career, in your life, what do you need to stop doing? What do you need to start doing? I'm a great believer that you've got a plate in front of you. And sometimes we pile so much onto the plate that we have to, at some stage, start to take things off. People want to achieve great goals, but unfortunately their plate's full. It's about getting focused. I'm continuously amazed at the leadership of MDRT, what they do, and still run a business. All the things that they achieve in not only their personal life but in their business life and also in this community called MDRT. What do you need to do more of? You sometimes do it and it works, and for some unknown reason you don't keep on doing it. What do you need to do less of? You're doing it but it's not serving you well. What do you need to do less of? What do you need to start doing? What do you need to stop doing? What do you need to do more of? What are you doing less of? Ask those questions of yourself. In actual fact, what do you need to stop doing? Is there anybody here that procrastinates? Anybody like that, you know, put thing off for another day? Yeah, normally when I ask that question, people put their hand up like this. Can I get back to you on that, Keith? What do you need to stop doing? Maybe you need to stop doubting yourself. Or can I do this? Will this business work for me? What do you need to start doing? Maybe asking for referrals. Maybe start being more active in this particular organisation. What do you need to do more of? You know what, I need to ask for referrals more often. What do you need to do less of? I need to less spending time on low value activities and more time on high value ones. And then of course you need to develop yourself. How do you develop yourself? It's about becoming a lifelong learner. Everybody that's ever achieved anything great in this business and this industry has become a lifelong learner. They turn up to events like this. They travel around the world. Look at the flag ceremony. There's somebody from every one of those flags at this event who've had to get on a plane and be here. They've become a lifelong learner. What do you need? What other events that you need to go to? They listen. They listen to colleagues, they listen to peers, they listen to audio programs, they tap into what MDRT has to offer and all the different resources that MDRT has to offer. They listen. They reflect. What worked? What didn't? What could I have done differently? What could I have implemented more effectively? They reflect. They network. They network with like-minded people. You're in the right room with the right people at the right time. They get this opportunity to network with people who are serious about taking their business and their career to the next level. They have mentors and coaches. They humble themselves enough to sit at the feet of a master and say, show me, teach me, help me. They focus on what's important to them. They focus on the ability to seek advice from others. Everybody that's ever achieved anything in this industry has done it because of the people around them. We were chatting about this at dinner just the other night. The people you read and the books you read, the people you listen to and the books you read have such a profound impact on you. They journal their ideas, and it's great to see people taking notes, because at the end of the day, these ideas may not be relevant for tomorrow. It might be next week or next month or next year, but you need to have those ideas to be able to go back and reflect on those. And then, of course, there's reading. You want to lead your life. You want to lead your business. You want to lead others. Then you need to read. Leaders are readers. If you want to achieve the things that you need to achieve, if you want to go from here to there, then you find yourselves in books. I remember when I came back from that first program, one of the first books I ever read was How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. As a weed inspector working for the local council, I didn't do too much reading, but I knew if I wanted to achieve things, I needed to get a personality. And I found myself in that book. It was almost like he'd been walking around behind me writing the book about my life. So leaders are readers. Let me ask you to take this moment, just 30 seconds. MDRT provides a wonderful power centre with books and CDs and information to tap into. Here's what I'd like you to do. What are you going to do for your own personal and professional development this year? What other events are you going to go to? What else are you going to do to go to the next level? What are you going to do to achieve all the things that you can achieve, and then some? So take a moment for me now, and I want you to write down what's one thing in the next 12 months that you're going to do to develop yourself to the next level. What's one 1% idea? Take a moment, just 30 seconds, and write that down for me. And then once you've done that, I'd like you to share it with the person you're sitting alongside. Take a moment to do that for me now, please. What's that one goal? What's that one action step? Now take a moment and share it with the person you're sitting alongside. So talk to the person you're sitting alongside. If you don't like that person, turn to the other person. If no one's talking to you, you need to get friends. All right, your time is up. After today, you're going to fit into 4 categories. Today we spoke about clarity. We spoke about the list of 100. So if I can give you some 1% to go away and think about, here's what you need to think about. Write your list of 100 goals. Write down what you want to achieve in those 8 areas in your life and in your business for the next 12 months. Put them on a 3x5 card and carry it around in your pocket. Put it in your pocket, or put it in your wallet, or on the sun visor of your car, or alongside your bed, or on your bathroom mirror, but read it every day. Then think a little bit about what are those 1% ideas that you need to improve in your business. The ideas that you might glean from this platform over the next couple of days. Then take a moment and think about what are you going to do, what books are you going to read, what lifelong learning are you going to participate in. And start to build that level of confidence. Remember, it's about clarity, it's about creating the best year yet, and it's about having the confidence to be worthy, deserving, capable, and possible. And go away and implement these ideas. After today, you're going to fit into 4 categories. 3% of people make things happen. They become significant. They apply the ideas. They don't just talk about it, they do something about it. 3% of people make things happen. 10% of people think or expect things to happen. So I'm thinking about doing this, Keith. Great. What are you actually doing about it? 60% of people just watch things happen. Geez, that person's achieving. Oh, he or she was lucky. No. There's no luck in it. There's no luck in it. And 27% of people don't know what happened. But what happened? Well, what happened at that event? Well, why? I want you to be in the top 3%. Write down your dreams and aspirations and use this business as a vehicle to achieve those dreams and aspirations. Be in the top 3%. Start to achieve those goals. You're worthy, you're capable, you're deserving. Life is not about pursuing your passion one day. It's about having a passion every single day. It's about being passionate about who you are, what you do, and how you do it. There's a lovely quote, and it says, if you want to plant for days, plant flowers. If you want to plant for years, plant trees. If you want to plant for eternity, plant ideas. Hopefully you've got some ideas from the presenters in this event that you'll reap a reward for eternity. But you have to take action. Good intentions and good ideas doesn't get the job done. It's about taking action. You see, ladies and gentlemen, if it's not you, then who? And if it's not now, then when? If it's not you that does it for you, who's going to do it for you? Who's going to write out your list of 100 goals? Who's going to implement those 1% ideas? Who's going to clarify your goals for the next 12 months? Who's going to develop you? If it's not you, then who? And if it's not now, then when? How many more people like me do you have to listen to before you say, enough's enough? And that's enough from me. Thanks very much for listening. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.